So, with dating, do you want to date someone who is vaccinated or unvaccinated? Do you care? I had a really nice discussion with a gentleman on Match.com who felt strongly about being vaccinated and was really open minded in having a discussion about it. Um, and he feels like the 0.8% death rate does constitute an emergency. I guess there are about 600,000 people that die a year from COVID. And I was thinking of all the fuss that we've made about the lockdown and getting vaccinated. I hope this video won't be pulled from YouTube. Um, there are just as many deaths a year due to smoking and obesity. And I have not seen the government take any measures to reduce either one. Furthermore, most of the COVID deaths occur among really sick people that are close to death anyway. I don't think that they have really taken advantage of drugs that can be used early on, like ivermectin, which is supposed to really help with that, because it's a malaria drug that is off patent. It's been used for 40 years. It's super cheap. There's no money in promoting it. I think it's all about the money. And furthermore, people who are young and healthy hardly ever have serious symptoms from COVID, hardly ever die. Keep talking about the cases going up, but I don't hear deaths going up. And furthermore, if you're healthy, your chances of getting sick from anything are reduced, but you can still get sick. That does not mean we should be pushing vaccines or pushing lockdowns or masks, in my opinion. So, with that said, I am unvaccinated. I'm still not convinced I need to be vaccinated. I'm more afraid of going in an airplane, to be honest. It's not that I'm fearless, but I'm just questioning things. So, if they really care about our health, they would be eliminating smoking, tobacco, sugary drinks, and they would be pushing public health policy that encourages people to exercise and go to gyms and eat healthy. However, that looks, because the same messaging that's about go get the vaccine could be get a walk in. The CDC director could be on national TV saying get a walk in. So that's just what I'm saying. Another thing is, I was at a dinner yesterday with my girlfriend, and we stopped at a store next door, and we started talking to the gentleman in the store, and we had a very interesting conversation with him. And he was a very good-looking young man who gets a lot of women who approach him. It's very interesting. Some of these good-looking guys get a lot of pussy. This guy was very good looking. But as he started talking, I was like, I would never date this guy. And even though he was hot, the more he talked, the less I even thought I would want to fuck him. Even though I don't hook up anyway, my interest in like, would I ever hook up with this guy was like a zero. And this is why. Initially, he seemed like he was a great guy. He was talking about how he's religious and this and that. Now, he does have a Middle Eastern background, although he was born in the United States. And so I think that he sees himself more as women exist to serve him. And that's why I made like a tweet this morning trying to ask guys like how much they enjoy going down on a woman and what are the factors, because this guy was all about, I kind of started, he didn't come out and say this. He started talking about how women, you know, it just naturally came up in conversation. So I pursued the conversation to be like, hey, women are really aggressive. And, then he just started kind of responding. He was not initiating a sexual conversation. I took it there because I was very interested in a man's perspective, a man who has so many women pursuing him. What that was like for him and what kind of women pursue him. And I was just shocked how aggressive some of these women are, and they just want to suck his dick. And then we went out, we walked around, we went in my car, and he showed me the videos. He showed my friend and me the videos he had on his phone of his girlfriend, because he was like, oh, my first girlfriend, I loved her so much. She was so good at going down on me. And I have videos of it. And I was curious. I wanted to see what he would consider really good oral. I thought maybe I could learn something. And I thought I could, a man sharing his heart. I wanted to learn something from him. And what I learned was that he was just a selfish, needy man who made it all about him. Um, because he did share that video. And then he had all these other videos of all these other women that he had sex with, and they allowed him to film it. And one of them was just like, yeah, I was in Las Vegas in this hotel. This is the one. She just came up to me and she wanted to suck my dick, and this happened in the bathroom. I'm like, oh my God, like, what? I was just kind of shocked. And then there were all these videos he had of women sucking his dick. So I started getting interested in whether he goes down on women. So I said, do you ever go down on women? And all of it, he had talked like so long about women sucking his dick and what he liked. And all he said was, yeah. So I tried to get more of an answer. I tried to get more of an answer from him. And he just said, yeah, I do it. I said, with every woman, yeah, I do it. He had nothing to say about it. And so I was kind of, he didn't say, I love pussy. They're so beautiful. Women are so beautiful. He didn't say anything about relationships. He just said that he never will hook up with a married woman because he's religious. It was all about him. And he had also mentioned that he's super horny, has a very high sex drive. So he will have sex with a woman, like he picks up at a bar, take her home, they go back to the bar and have sex with another woman, then go home and masturbate. And so I took it to mean that he was disturbed by this. And so I said, well, it can often be for you that there's something else that you're really wanting, like affection, closeness, admiration, being seen. And that for some men or women, I guess it could be too, who feel really, their hearts are kind of closed off, or they don't feel comfortable being vulnerable, that the only time they're allowed to feel or be vulnerable is during sex. He didn't seem to register any of that. He just thought he had a high sex drive. He was okay with it. And then when we were sitting in the car, he was showing me the videos, he was saying stuff like, oh, I really want to have sex with you. Like, and I'm like, why would I, And he was like, yeah, because it feels good. And I was shocked. He was in his early 30s. I was really surprised that he didn't realize why it might not feel so good for a woman to have hookup sex as it does for a man. And I have this book I just started reading called Cliteracy. It talks about the orgasm gap. Like during first time hookup, a man has a 60% chance of having an orgasm. Actually, in my experience, they always do. And a woman has like a 4% chance. I just am not going to have that much pleasure from just a quick hookup. My pleasure during sex is greatly enhanced by how the man treats me and cares about me emotionally. That's why, like, men that come to see me that have done a lot for me already before they get here. It's not like just meeting a guy in a bar. Like, why would I want to do that? Like, what would I get out of it, honestly? I've tried that. I've done that. I just thought that he had it was all about him, and he was very respectful. I'm not making him wrong, but I just want to make this video to kind of share that there are men, okay, just sexually, there are men who love to be serviced, and there are men who love to worship and adore and please the woman. And I like personally like a healthy mix. I don't like having sex with men who just want to be serviced. And I don't like having sex with men who are just submissive. I like to be both, and I try to be both. Um, there's also, uh, yeah, I feel like, and I know there's some men who like to have sex like 3 to 5 times a day. Me personally, that's just me, not judging it. To me, that's way too needy. If you need my body 5 times a day or 3 times a day to feel good about yourself or to feel content in the relationship, I just feel that's too needy for me. Because he was saying, yeah, I like sex when I first get up in the morning. Then as soon as I get home in the evening at 5, and then again at bedtime. And I'm just thinking that's just a lot of sex. Unless we're early in a relationship and really hot for each other, there are a lot of other things I like to do in the evening, rather than just making it all about sucking your dick, because that seemed. Oh, and the other thing in all those videos, he had one video where he was doing fucking this woman in the ass because she was on her period, and he had no condom. She's just going around, and I said, "You're not wearing a condom." And he said, "I knew her." All right. And then I finally, it was almost close to 10. I'm like, I'm really tired, you guys. I want to go. So he got out of the car. He was very respectful. He shook our hands and he left. And my friend and I were like, yeah, he's probably going to go to the bathroom now and jack off. um, I just wanted to share that because while we were in the car, what came up for me, um, as we were talking about this, is like why, my friend and this guy were asking me about, I had told him I'm an escort, like if I have orgasms with my clients, I'm like, not every time. And they were like, why don't you have one every time? And I'm like, well, I don't orgasm from penetration, and it just depends on whether the man gives me the space here. And I'm doing some sharing of my own here. If the man wants me to have an orgasm, if he is interested in that and creates the space for that, because if he is not interested in that, I'm not going to force myself on him to give me an orgasm. I don't want to. Because it's going to take a little bit of time and a little bit of attention, him wanting that, because we're co-creating everything. And they didn't really get that. So I started questioning, like, why I don't require that space. To me, it's like it has to be offered. Just like me offering the man a space, like I'm creating a space for you to come. I create that space for them to come if they want to. Ask them what they need, how they like it, what turns them on in case they're having trouble with it or need more time. And if I didn't create that space, they wouldn't be able to come either. Some men have a lot of different requirements for their orgasm. Not everyone is a premature ejaculator. And some men have a lot of different needs and requirements around it. And so do some women. And so do I. And so if I'm not going to, and then he's like, well, if someone's just penetrating you and just kind of like rubbing your clit like that, I'm like, that, not necessarily. Like, I don't know. It depends on how comfortable I am with the guy and how intimate I want to be with him and all these things and how much time I feel I have and all of that. And, I'm having, I started kind of delving into my own mindset and why I don't have an orgasm every time. Sometimes I don't want to. I start delving into, well, why don't I want to? What's that about for me? And, some of it has to do with me. I just have sex with clients. But some of it, even if it wasn't a client, there's something internal that I need to be with someone who wants me to, where I feel relaxed enough to let go. And, in a way that's good because it lets me screen for men who, I guess I like men who are like dominant, but also care about my pleasure. And so, what I need from a man to come is a combination of that. It's like, is he being dominant? And does he care about my pleasure? So I kind of need both, um, I guess. But it's really an interesting topic. But I guess all these women just come when he fucks them. Apparently, they're all coming. That's at least what he says, which I found that kind of surprising because, um, but hey, who am I to question what people tell me? um, so yeah, for me, I can enjoy sex with a man that even if I don't have an orgasm, I can enjoy the closeness. It's not, and honestly, for me, while an orgasm is pleasurable, it's not like the most pleasurable experience I have in the world. And honestly, I can give myself an orgasm that is just as good as any orgasm a man can give me. So for me, wanting sex with a man it's not about having an orgasm at all. It's about the closeness, the journey, the adventure, the inner exchange of energy, like the what we can discover together, just being free and playful. So it's not about having an orgasm for me, whether it was good or not. Um, but I suppose if a man, I will tell you this, if I were to hook up with a guy and he didn't care about my orgasm, he would never come back. There was a guy I did briefly see in January of this year, and he definitely wanted to please me. And I will say that because of the way he treated me, and he didn't just want sex, and he cared about me and liked spending time with me that was non sexual, it made me more open to him sexually. So the way I'm not going to just get turned on by a guy just because of how his dick is or how he looks. It's about how he treats me and how he cares about me. That has a lot to do with my pleasure. And this guy I don't think he had any idea about that, but I explained that to him about how this guy in January, his penis was long, it was very painful, but then because of some dates we had that were non-sexual, how I became more interested in him, more open to him, and then when we had sex again, it was amazing. There was no pain at all because of how I felt about him and how my body responded so differently because of how I felt about him and how I think he also had learned a little bit more about me. So that's why, uh, when I hear a guy say, why wouldn't you want sex? It feels good. I'm like, you don't understand a woman at all. Um, Anyway, so back to the gentleman with the COVID thing. I would have more conversations with him. I'm just on Match.com now. I'm in private mode. I paid for Match.com subscription and I'm in private mode, which means that no one can see my profile unless I send the gentleman a like or a message. And I'm not just going to send a like, I'm going to send a message every time. And I'm noticing what's coming up for me is I'm feeling rejected. I'm wondering, all these things that men probably feel. Should I write this guy? Is he going to write me back? And this is so good for me to just experience being in a man's shoes. Like right now, I only message two gentlemen. They're not like super hot, but I'm just interested in having conversations with men, seeing what comes up for me. And I'm in this another online course with Catherine Daniele because I want to, I'm more interested in opening my heart to a man than opening my legs, spreading my heart wide open than spreading my legs. It's so easy to spread our legs, you guys. It's so easy to just stick a dick in your mouth. You know, for all these women that just stuck that guy's dick in his mouth and he didn't even honor them or go down on them at all. That's what I asked him. I said, so these women that you just meet that just stick your dick in their mouth, do you ever do anything for them? Do you go down on them? And he said, well, because she put my dick in her mouth, she knows I'm going to have sex with her later. That closes the deal. That makes her know I'll have sex with her later. Like, what? Like, that's some kind of privilege to get you? I guess there's some women who feel like, I need this guy's validation or attention. I want his dick. I'm going to suck him off so that way I want to put his dick in my mouth so I can be sure he'll put his dick in my pussy later. It's just a whole different mindset. Like, I'm glad I heard that. I don't know women like that. I don't have friends like that. Or if they are like that, they're not telling me. It was just I was just shell shocked. But I guess that women are like, it's the women's liberation movement. You know, women can earn as much as men, women can fuck like men, women don't need men, you know. I don't know if these women are super healthy and in touch with their sexuality, if they're just having fun and being playful. I guess they're sober. I asked them, they do it sober. I don't know if they're not owning their feminine energy at all. But I asked the guy before he even went out to the car, those women that you hook up with, would you date them? He said, no, I would not date them. And that's the other thing too. There's a difference, you know, like those. There isn't, I guess what I'm trying to get to is like how much respect there is towards the person when you're just so easily spreading your legs for a guy. Is he gonna want to date you? Not that that matters, but how are you perceived and how do you perceive yourself? I don't know. I I went through a time in my life where I just wanted sex from guys. I just wanted sex, and that's because I just wanted sex. That's it. I didn't want anything more. I had just come out of a really long marriage. I didn't want more. But I discovered after 2 years of doing that, just having sex with guys was not fulfilling, so I stopped doing it. And maybe that's what those women are doing. You know, they're young, they're exploring their sexuality. And I think that's great that we get to discover what we want. But yet, it's also great to hear women like me who've done it or who are older talk about our experience and what we learned and share what we learned. So that can help you make a decision if that's what you really want to do. I asked him if he goes back and hooks up with these women over and over, and he says he will. I asked him if these women get attached to him. He says sometimes they do, but he's super honest. He tells them, I'm not looking for a relationship. I said, but do they hear you? And he goes, usually, but there's a time I had to change my number because this woman kept hounding me. You know, because women get more easily attached. We're more emotional, so we get more easily attached as a result of having sex with someone. And you know what? I'm tired of making myself wrong for that. It's natural to become connected and to become attached to people and to need people. And sex can be a bonding experience. Personally, I don't want to have sex anymore with men who don't want to connect with me first. I don't want it anymore. It's not attractive. I just feel like I don't get anything out of it. I feel like I'm plundered. Like he got everything out of it and I got nothing. Even if he gives me an orgasm like that, giving me an orgasm, I can give myself an orgasm. Okay, I don't need you for that. What do I need a man for? Let me end with that. What do I need a man for? I need a man. I want to end with that. I need a man so that I can have someone I can admire and adore, so I can be vulnerable and let myself receive for all those emotional aspects of giving, receiving, and loving that have nothing to do with sex. Okay, now I do like really good sex, but I want those other aspects first. And that's the more scary stuff for people, is to open your heart, to be vulnerable, to receive, to be vulnerable and to say, I'm interested in you. You know, I want a man for someone, because I like the masculine energy and how they're different from me, for the intrigue of how men think and how they tell their stories, and that they're so much more logical, to kind of like balance more like my feminine nature. Um, I like men for how they like to, I guess I just like their energy, the masculine energy. And just having been single for so long and not meeting anyone, I'd really closed down that part of me that yearned for that. And I'm opening that part of me that yearns for that again, without being like, I need it, but I like it, just to be in that very sweet space of, and I'm still trying to figure out exactly how to interact with men so that I can be like, what's gonna turn them off, what's gonna keep them engaged, like this discussion with this gentleman with the COVID. Um, I want to be respectful. Yeah, I don't want people to like ghost me or unmatch me or reject me. But maybe it's okay if they do, I'm totally new to dating, you guys. And I dated some when I was in my 20s, but I have not dated at all. I've just fucked guys. Um, since my divorce in 2013, I have just fucked men. I have not dated at all, except for that gentleman in January. That was only for 1 month, and it went really well. I enjoyed it, but I have not dated. I've not dated. Like, I'm just like completely new to this. Um, so right now I'm just trying to like have conversations with these men on Match, even if they're not hot. Um, just to have conversations with them, get to know them, see how they respond to me, see what I can learn. And I need men to help me grow. I need men to help me grow. I need men to help me see where I'm shut down, where I need to open up. I need men to um, uh, allow me to be more in my heart. That's it. And I need men for that. I can't do it alone. I need a man for that. I need a man to show me where I am closed off, where I need to grow. And I need men to show me where I need to keep my boundaries and stay connected to myself while still being in loving service to him. That's, a great emotional challenge of the heart. And I need a man to take me there. Thank you so much for watching my video. I am now going for a run on the beach.